Chamber is so broken, dude. Ever since this Sentinel has been introduced to the game, people have been insta-locking him like no other. I mean, and I can't blame him. He has the ability to make ridiculous plays at literally the snap of a finger. But the amount of times I've seen people lock this agent but have no idea how to use him is astonishing to me. People claim to be Sentinel mains just because Chamber, is labeled a Sentinel. It just makes actual Sentinel mains like me sick. We don't want you guys to be like this. So sit down and grab a notebook because today we're going over how you can master Chamber in about 10 minutes. So let's get started. To start, Chamber's strongest ability is his Rendezvous. If you've ever played Jett before, it basically allows him to play in stupid off angles, get a kill, get out, and now the retake is easier. In order to counter this ability, the enemy team needs to use utility in order to clear you out. But what if I told you that you didn't actually have to use your teleport even though you got utiled out? We'll cover that later in the video. But for now, a good rule of thumb is that if you get drowned, stunned, or flashed, you should just use your Rendezvous and get out. If the enemy team is any decent, there is someone there to follow up said utility, and you'll get punished if you stick around too long. The issue with worse players is that they have their Rendezvous set up in mediocre spots. For example, on Fracture, a good way to set up is to have one TP on top of a generator and have another towards B main so you can peek with it. By teleporting away to generator, you're putting yourself in another strong off angle that sets you up to get another and fall back pretty safely. Or in bind, a good way to set up is to put one anchor on top of truck and another heaven. This is so that once you get pushed off, you can safely re-peek from heaven and get more damage off. There are setups like this on every map, and only Chamber masters know how to abuse these types of setups. I mean, granted, you shouldn't do this every round, as the enemy team is going to expect you to just be in another off angle. But don't just throw your Rendezvous to get out safely, use it to set yourself up for multiple frags, but still safely get out. The next thing that you guys are using wrong is your trademark. Let me explain. So all over Twitter, I hear people complaining that they should just give Chamber back his second trip. Without it, he doesn't feel like a true Sentinel. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that those people don't really understand Chamber as an agent. Every Sentinel holds space and gets information and stalls differently. Cypher uses information, Killjoy and Sage use utility, and Chamber uses his guns. This is why Riot gave him a Sheriff as an ability, because without it, his Rendezvous would be completely useless on save rounds. His specialty is punishing people who are careless when taking space. So if he didn't have anything to punish people with, there'd be no point in playing him. The same concept is applied to his trademark. Chamber's kit isn't meant to slow down a push. It's to get his, get out, and play retake. His trip is just for information. If you're relying on this thing to actually stall and execute, you're out of your mind. But when he had two of them, this just power crept on Cypher and Killjoy's kit. There was no point in running them. He simply gathered too much information on his own. But with that out of the way, one trademark is still enough information if used correctly. It's used incorrectly more often than not though. Let's take bind for example. Most chambers will just play B, op long, and then throw their trip in hookah. Or they'll play an op and shower and trip short. The issue with this is that you're now relying on your teammates to relay information to you on the other side of the map. What you should be doing is this. Put your first Rendezvous in spawn, run to short, put down your trademark, then teleport back to spawn to go set up B. This then gives you global information as to what's happening around the map. You'll know if they're taking B, and you'll know if they've taken A. Plus, I'm sure your teammates will like the extra bot to play off of. So spread your utility out when playing Chamber, so you don't have to rely on little Timmy for comms. If you like what you're hearing so far, then we have more of this on our website. We have agent courses taught by Radiant One Tricks that show you the ins and outs of each agent. We're also the only service to offer a rank up guarantee or your money back. We're just that confident. So why not give us a shot? Check us out at SkillCapped. We'll be waiting. Now, let's go back to that utility dump teleport thing that I mentioned earlier. This is where, let's say for example, you're playing Beaming on Ascent, but you get Omen Paranoid. What you could do is simply back up, wait it out, take a shot, then use your Rendezvous. But this also depends on the comp that the enemy team is running. Let's say you're playing against a Phoenix or a Reyna, then yeah, this could work. But if you're playing against a Jett, Raze, or Neon, this is a bit more risky. This is where Chamber players need to recognize their risk versus reward scale when it comes to using their teleport. Good Chambers know when to get out, and when they can still stick around to try and get a kill. Take a look at this clip from a Smurf commentary that I did the other day.
So again, this play that I'm about to show you is kind of like a, kind of similar to the last play I showed you. When you're playing Chamber and you're in range of your teleporter, you can make some crazy plays, and you can afford to be a little risky, right? So at the beginning of this round, I told my breach to flash up here for me. This makes it so that I could peek B main pretty safely. And now I'm gonna just play this a little bit. So he flashes, I get stunned, right? Normally, if you get stunned like this, you want to teleport out. But because I didn't hear anybody running, I didn't hear Neon Dash, I didn't hear Ray Satchels, I didn't hear anybody following up off of this, or I didn't see anybody like getting ready to peek. I'm like, no one's using the stun, right? So I'm able just to sit here and like, yo, they're not really pushing me off the angle. Just because they use utility doesn't mean that people are following up off of it. So I tell Breach Ask, you want to go again? Instead of me just declaring, I'm like, yeah, go for it. And I hear them running up now, so I'm able to swing and then get one, right? But had I just TP'd off initially, I wouldn't be able to get this kill.
Next, for those of you who watch us a lot, you've probably seen our recent 15-meter rule video breaking down what you should be doing at what range and with what weapon. This same rule applies to Chamber's Headhunter ability. Depending on the range in which your opponent is at, says whether or not you should aim down sights. Aiming down sights with his sheriff is arguably the best part of it. It allows you to be precise with each shot, and it encourages you to line it up before firing. This makes it so that no matter what your economy looks like, you will always have a decent chance of getting a kill. But sometimes you shouldn't ADS, because when you are, your movement speed is abysmal, meaning you have to commit to whatever fight that you're taking. If you're hip firing, you can counter strafe and duck back into cover. My rule of thumb is that 15 meters or closer, they get the hip fire. Any longer, I ADS. So this makes it so that I'm well prepared for whatever fight that I'm taking. But there's also another rule. If you're getting swung by 2 or more people at the same time, you shouldn't ADS. The fire rate just isn't there to kill more than one person. Here, watch this clip that I hit in my ranked game the other day.
80 chamber.
Au revoir, frérot.
Holy shit, are you cheating?
Yep.
One enemy remaining.
I couldn't ADS throughout this entire clip because I was afraid that I was going to get double swung. Then I wouldn't have the movement speed to react quickly enough. Lucky for me, the enemy team played this poorly, but I capitalized and followed the rules I just showed you. Lastly, if you really want to master Chamber, the number one thing that you need to stop doing is re-peeking. How many times have you seen the Chamber get a kill, then re-peek and try and get more? This happens way more often than not, and what always ends up happening is that the Chamber gets punished by someone holding for the re-peek. Then Chamber comes something like, sorry guys, I got too greedy, but then they do it again the next round. Chamber mains think that they're on top of the world and think that they're invincible. When they die after re-peeking and getting a kill, they just think, oh, I got mine. In reality, you just lost so much map control for your team. Your trademark that was holding mid is now down. This means your teammates now need to pick up the hole that you left in the defense, and the hole that your trademark left. But there are safe ways of re-peeking that no one seems to do for some reason. Just like how you would initiate for a jet on offense, the same concept should be applied to defense. Let's say you have a breach on your team. Have him flash you back on the angle like mine did for me. Or maybe you have a Sova, Fade, or a Sky on your team. Have them use their utility to get you back on. Their drone-like abilities are extremely strong. By doing this, you can trade off your teammate's utility and safely re-peek the angle you were on before for some more free kills. So before we end the video, let's watch this clip from Optic Ye, and he'll demonstrate most of these rules that I mentioned in this video.
Huge.
Nice swing from
Trade
Ye.
it right back. Yeah. Still on hunting. Finds a second. The flash timing is gorgeous. He gets in, gets a kill, gets out.
And that's all the way from back screens that Victor threw that flash. Oh, he's just picking them apart with his Headhunter. And they might get their first eco win on the board.
I mean, guess why do you need to win pistols if you've got Headhunter on the other side in the second round, huh?
Remaining.
Oh my.
Yep, that's 4. Has he fired 4 bullets? He's got 3 bullets left. He's gonna get the chance at the A. Steph on the other side. It's so clean. It's so freaking clean as Ye gets 5.
Kill number 1 was just a clean shot and a nice off angle. The second kill was set up by his teammate's flash. Like I said, initiating the re-peek. Kill number 3 was when he repositioned into another off angle by teleporting away. Number 4 was another initiator setup. His Fade prowlered him in. And number 5 was the cherry on top. But this was all just one of many in-depth guides that we have on our website though. Also, if you want a chance at having your VOD viewed, be sure to subscribe on our website at SkillCapped.com. We also have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries where we have Radiant players walk you through exactly how to have the most impact possible in a bunch of different situations. It's also backed by a rank improvement guarantee, and the reason to do that is because you're just that confident that our service works. And if it doesn't work, then you shouldn't pay. So what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose. Head on over to SkillCapped.com and get started in your way to that rank that you deserve. So hopefully you guys now have a better understanding on how you can abuse Chamber's kit. Despite all of his nerfs, he's still one of, if not the strongest agents in the game. And if you can master him, your path to that next rank will be that much easier. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. And that's all for us. I'm Teets, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.